Hi everybody, welcome back to Bustling Home. I think we've tried most of the educational options available besides things like Montessori or the specialty types of education because my kids are in a local private school right now. It's a Catholic school since that's the only way to make 6 kids in school affordable. And I thought that putting them in a Catholic school would possibly give us some better community and work out a little bit better than the public school had. Although I knew it was going to be difficult because it was difficult when they were in public school for a little bit last year. Some of the problems that we had with public school last year is it's really hard to get 7 kids up in the morning and out the door, especially on time. So we are not the best people for being on time to start with. And then having an early morning deadline when most of us are not morning people makes it all that much worse. Needless to say, they were late a lot to the school that's only 4 minutes down the road, and their current school is about 25 minutes away. So you can only imagine the attendance record there. It's not been great. We are actually doing our best, which to outside viewers, it might not look like our best, but given the ADHD type time blindness that runs rampant in this family, this is kind of our best. We're working really hard to make this work. The school actually has a pretty good selection of curriculum, and the teachers are very friendly and seem to be pretty competent. But it's, again, the schedule and the mass schooling aspects that I'm having the hardest time with. So the schedule at their school is from 7:30 until 2:30. That means that we have to leave our house no later than like 7 o'clock or a few minutes before 7 o'clock to get them there on time. That's really hard because they had been used to getting up probably around 8 o'clock. And now we have to get them up by 6 o'clock, which doesn't always work. And then we're in a big rush to find the shoes, pack the lunch, find the jackets, find the backpacks, find the library books. Can't find the library books, so kids are running out crying because it's library day and they won't be able to get another book. Feed them, etc., etc. It's a lot to do all in the morning. And yes, I could prep some of it at night, but the kids don't get back until 3:15 at the absolute earliest. And then we still have to account for an hour of dinner. Probably half an hour at least for homework time accumulated between all the kids. Probably half an hour accumulated of getting ready for bed. So that's 2 hours right there. That takes us to 5:15. The kids really need to have a little bit of decompression time. So say that's another hour, 6:15. They have to go to bed by 8. And I need to actually spend a little bit of time with my kids and doing dishes and cleaning up the house. And there's just, I don't have any time left. And some of these chores have to be done after the kids are in bed. And then I have to get up again by 6 a.m. the next morning. There's just no time. And I already spend, let's see, it's about an hour and a half driving just to pick the kids up from school. And if I have to drop them off, that's another hour and a half. So that's like 3 hours of driving per day. If somebody forgets their lunch, that's another hour. If somebody's sick, that's some more time. Appointments take forever because I have all of their appointments set up at a completely different location from their school. So taking a kid to an appointment, no matter the length of it, it's a minimum time commitment of something like 2.5 to 3 hours. So they're missing a half a day of school just for a 15-minute doctor appointment. It's just the time consumption of having them in school is completely ridiculous. So on top of my husband's full-time job and my full-time job, we are finding it extremely difficult, and we are not keeping up. We are drowning. So even though we like the people and the academics are okay, even just for pure time management, we can't keep doing this. It's just way, way too much. I spend more time managing appointments and school and transportation than I did homeschooling. As far as the academics, the curriculum that they're using is really good, mostly. But it's, again, a problem with mass schooling that they really can't help. A classroom with 18 to 20 kids really cannot customize an education the way that homeschooling can. And that's probably an unfair hope or expectation I have of the classroom, which I kind of knew that. I was hoping that there would be a little bit more personalization than there is, but I understand that the teachers, at least the second and third grade teachers that my kids have, are brand new to the school. So they're having to learn all of the curriculum and design their entire year's worth of projects and everything with the kids from scratch while they're adapting to all the students in the school and the customs that go around with that go with that. So customizing an education to my kids, especially when this school is not reliant on technology, is borderline impossible for these teachers. So I don't fault the teachers at all for it, but my kids just, they are ahead of grade level because of the way we've done homeschooling, and they're really just not getting that much out of going to school day to day. On top of that, they've had some issues with bullying, and since we are Eastern Catholic and the school is Western Catholic, there's been a bit of an issue with that too, that they've been outsiders because we cross ourselves backwards from Western Catholic. So Eastern Catholic, it's Father, Son, Holy Spirit, so same side, other side. Western Catholic, it's Father, Son, Holy Spirit, which is opposite side, same side. And that's noticeable to a bunch of kids when it's a religious-based school. In addition to that, in the Eastern Church, kids are baptized and confirmed all at the same time when they're babies. So from the time that they're baptized, kids in the Eastern Catholic Church can receive communion. In the Western Catholic Church, that doesn't change until around second grade. So it's extremely conspicuous that out of all the second graders, my two kids are the only ones going up to receive communion. But I wanted them to be able to do that because that's how we practice in our church. And in the K-5 class, my two are, again, the only two that can go up and get communion out of their entire class. At least for the third graders, they don't quite stand out because they're old enough that their classmates have already gone through confirmation. But given those things, the fact that my kids came from homeschooling, so aren't used to the mass schooling habits, and that they're ahead of grade level in several areas, and the fact that we suddenly showed up with 3 sets of twins, which we're conspicuous everywhere we go. My kids attracted attention when they came to the school, both good and bad. And they've had a bit of a hard time with the negative side of that attention. With, like I said, some bullying and some teasing and stuff like that. And yeah, that's been a little difficult for one child in particular who has been the brunt, who's received the brunt of the bullying among my kids. And this child has also had the hardest time adapting to mass schooling, and probably more times than not in the morning, she is trying to refuse to go to school and almost in tears because she doesn't want to go. And I'm not sure if this is because of school or if it's because of kids or she's just tired. I'm really not sure what the origin of it is. So to that end, I have had her talk to the school counselor, who is going to talk to her on a regular basis, but because the school counselor is only there on average 1.5 days a week, she can only see this child for 15 minutes. I think it's twice a month And that's really just not going to make a difference. I mean, again, it's not the fault of the school. Those are just the resources they have, but it's not enough. So I started taking her to private counseling because she has had trouble before with dealing with change and doing things that are not her preferred activities. As I said, ADHD runs rampant in this house, I'm pretty sure. Although only one child is formally diagnosed. But I would like for her to keep seeing the private counselor. The problem with that is, again, any appointment that I take the kids out of school for, it takes them out for half a day. So if she keeps going to private counseling, does she keep missing half of a day every other week? And do we schedule it on the same day or the same part of the day so she keeps missing the same subjects? I mean, just the logistics of all of this are really hard between the time and the academics and the challenges that it's presented and how we've had to deal with that. So, to sum it up, I don't fault the school, but private school is not working very well for us. I'd say, I don't know if it's better or worse for us than the public school, because I guess I kind of expected in a Catholic school that the behavior would be more Catholic among the kids, but that's not really the case. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if public or private has been harder. At least the public school is closer and cheaper. So there's that. In any case, neither of them fit us. And after spending 6 weeks at the public school last year, and now, let's see, September, October, November, December, 4 months, close to half a year at the private school, we are working on going back to homeschooling. So apparently we are just homeschoolers through and through because nothing else is working. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't like all of the noise at home because I'm really sensitive to noise. I get overwhelmed with noise really easily. So I'm going to have to find some way to block that out. Probably earmuffs or headphones would help, just to block out the noise from the kids when they're playing downstairs. I put a lock on my office door, a keyed lock, so the kids can't actually get through the door. And I'll have to work with the nanny on making sure they don't pound on my door while I'm in meetings. That is really obvious when there's loud pounding in the background, and I have to explain it. So that part of homeschooling is hard. The schedule that I thought was hard with homeschooling, which we had a nanny from 9 till 2 when we were homeschooling before. And my husband would cover with the kids from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So I would have from whenever I got up until 2 o'clock to do my job and whatever else I needed to do without kids, which sometimes involved appointments, but at least the transportation time was shorter than when they're going to private school. I thought that was a time crunch. Probably partly because of the distraction factor. But it's not nearly as much of a time crunch as sending them to school because of all the overhead. What we're going to try this time is having a nanny from 8 to noon because my husband found the 8 to 9 time slot really difficult for him, since when he gets up in the morning, he gets up early, he has coffee, and the first couple or few hours after he gets up and when he's having his coffee and his breakfast are his most productive hours of the day. So if we shut that down at 8 o'clock and interrupt it for an hour, that really hits his productivity in a bad way. And I mean, it's been even worse with private school, that he will get up in the morning and then around 6:20, which is only maybe like 30 minutes after he got up, he has to cut out and help get the kids out the door, because I really cannot do that on my own unless I add like another half hour, 45 minutes in the morning, which would be ridiculous, because by the time I get one kid on task or two kids on task or something, another couple of them have run off and done something else, like they're sitting down and reading a book instead of being ready for school. So, yeah, we don't want to interrupt his morning work time, which means we need to have a nanny here at 8 o'clock if the kids are sleeping until 7:30 or 8. Then the nanny will stay until noon. Mostly I, or sometimes my husband, will take off for an hour at lunch from noon to 1. And we will make the lunch, serve the lunch, do some cleaning in the kitchen, pick up around the house a little bit, visit with the kids. Then 1 o'clock, I come back to my office if I was downstairs, or my husband goes back to his office. The toddler will have rest time at 1 o'clock, and then all of the other kids come up to my office, which is also the schoolroom, for some school time. And either we will start with their individual subjects, which I'll get them started on, do the instruction that I need to with each of them, or if I have a meeting, they can start on their computers doing some educational games or websites on their computers. And then we'll swap off sometime during the next couple of hours, and if they did their individual work first, then they'll do their computer stuff, or vice versa, just switch them around as needed. And we will have that until about 3 o'clock, and I'll have to set an alarm, hello time blindness, to tell us that school time and work time are over and get off the computers now. Now, occasionally my meetings might run over a little bit, and I might have to do something between 3 and 4, but for the most part, I can get off work at 3 o'clock. And then we will do group subjects, maybe have a snack if they need it first. Then do group subjects like science or history or whatever else we're doing for the day. It'd be like one subject per day. And then I would sit down and, if I hadn't done it earlier, have the focus time working on all about reading with my 5-year-old. Well, not 5, they're 6. They just turned 6. 6-year-olds. 6-year-old twins. So I have this all worked out in my head. And I put it in a spreadsheet. We'll see how it does when it encounters reality. Frequently, I have these very nice plans that I put together, and I lay it all out very nicely in a spreadsheet, and it works out great. And then reality kind of throws a wrench in it. But I don't think it'll be too bad this time, because even on paper, this looks easier than sending the kids to school. So that's the plan right now. I think the last video that I posted, my kids had tried public school, and we were just heading back to homeschooling at that point. So we did that, and then we went to private school, and now we're heading back to homeschooling again. So we've been all over the place educationally. It's been a rough couple of years. I don't like all the transitions. My kids don't handle transitions well. So hopefully this will be the last transition, that we go back to homeschooling and we can just stick with it. There's not something that throws a wrench in that. That means that we really just cannot homeschool for some reason. I don't know. I mean, besides the lack of childcare, which is what prompted us to move the kids to private school this year, I don't know what would throw a wrench in homeschooling again, just because there is such a disadvantage logistically to sending the kids to school anywhere. So hopefully we don't run into that speed bump again, that we just cannot have the kids home because there's no one to watch them. That involves me being more proactive, because I kind of messed that up last time. I didn't start looking for somebody until maybe 2 or 3 weeks before we needed them, and that's not nearly enough time. Yeah, time blindness. It's a problem. So this time, I started looking 2 months ahead of time. Next time, I will start looking at least 2 months ahead of time and get people in early for interviews and stay on top of that, because now I know what happens if I don't do that. Live and learn. It's a lot. Anyhow, that's where we are now. We are going back to homeschooling again. I will come up with a more detailed comparison between public and private and homeschooling, so that if you're considering some option or the other, you can have an idea of how they work and how they compare. And I have a whole lot more to say about all of that. So I'll be back to share all that with you. And you can also find it on bustlinghome.com. So you can come over and see me over there. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.